It is. Are we kicking off? Are we kicking off? Did I restore the right one? Oh no. Is it? Is it? Okay, cool. Come on. Come on. It should be going, but I'm not seeing it. What in the world? Am I going crazy?
Check your caster.
Oh yeah, it supposedly is going. Okay. Yeah, we'll check my caster. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's supposedly streaming.
You're live.
Yeah, okay, nice. Oh yeah, encoder going a little slow. Okay, whatever. Does look like it's going. And come on, DLive. Wake up. Wake up. Encoder sending data faster than real time, multiple seconds of video each second or something like that. In the world. But man, oh man. I'm streaming low quality though. What in the world? I'm supposed to be streaming nice and low quality. But anyway, it is. Can you hear me? Press 1. If you can't hear me, press 2. Hake is more into karate than jiu-jitsu? Whoever. God bless you. Man, oh man. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going, except on not. Oh yeah, there it is. What's up, DLive crew? Okay. Well, let me know. Press 1 if it's good. Press 2 if it's awful. Press 3 if it's just kind of iffy. 3 is iffy. 2 is awful. 1 is good. That's my code. Okay. Press 2. 2 is like if you press. Anyway, whatever. It is Wednesday, December 11th. AD 2024, and it is 9:02 here in Los Angeles. Hope the video is better today and not choppy like karate. Was it kind of choppy yesterday? I heard, you know what? That's interesting. I heard that there was like a delay. You know, like my audio was out of sync. I didn't really check that. If you like that shirt. What a mess. Well, shout out, guys. Thank you. Pressing F? Don't be pressing F. The stream is shot, says Age of Inversion. Wow. I mean, it says that it's going, and... Oh, yeah, it is kind of... it's trying real hard. Excellent connection now on YouTube. Whatever. Okay, well, pardon me. Won't play. Darn. Well, let me give... the try that worst case. Okay, now it's going. Thank you, Age of Inversion. Shout out to the live chat. I'll have to try to keep my eyes on the live chat so that I know what's up, because I don't want it all messed up. I will get to your calls, guys. I have some fun things to cover. I think, my opinion. It is Wednesday, December 11th. I said that. AD 2024, 9:04 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. Standard Time, not Daylight Time. Fun guest yesterday. I thought it was a pretty good conversation. I like that guy. Matthew, caught in the middle. So I wasn't able to get to all of your calls. Pardon me for that, but some of you guys got called in kind of late. But shout out. You can call in right now, 1-888-775-3773. Some of you already on hold. But anyway, guys. Oh, hold on. I can't be anyway guysing you just yet. I have to set up the beautiful scenery. We'll see how good this internet is. White man 14, I disavow, said, we're looking at the green grass while listening to Christmas music. That's California. That's SoCal for you. I still try to get your sunshine, they say, because it's good for you to get some sunshine and your exercise or whatever you can do, and rest, of course, while you're getting ready, you know. Channel 15. Oh yeah. It's So I'll turn this down a little bit. Anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the show.
Have you been naughty or nice?
It's the Hake Report. La, la, la. It's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
It's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. It's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Lower. So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. Kinda. I'm wearing a Christmas t-shirt. Lord have mercy. Oh, hey, Nick, actually, or actually get Bill if you don't have time, Nick. The music knob has no effect. Studio 8 is not feeding into the music knob. The Studio 8 is not feeding into the music knob, so it's blasting my ears like the last time. You know, I think everything got all reset. Talking shop here. I actually don't mind. I kind of like.
Well, I guess you touched.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
That did it?
Yeah. I think it did. Well, it does have some effect anyway now. Okay, sweet. I kind of like talking shop because then it looks like I know what I'm talking about. It's a thrill. Happy birthday, Hake. Peace. Thank you, 13 above. Merry, amazing Bond Christmas. And this is the snowflake tee. A snowflake t-shirt. And you can go to rebuildingtheman.com/events. It's Black Santa. It's Jesse Santa. It's Santa Jesse. Is Jesse a saint? I think all of the Christians are supposed to be saints, right? Aren't we? Aren't they? They? Very nice. Very nice. Let's get to Manuel in Fresno, California, who's on the line here. Manuel, thank you for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
Doing well, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
Every time you start your show, I'm always hoping you're going to mess up on the intro.
Which I did.
That makes me laugh. Like, not that it's like battery. I just think it's a good little, not gimmick, but it's funny. You know, I think it's good.
Right on. Yeah,
Good little giggle.
I know that I can kind of sense. I get that sense from when I was a listener of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and he would criticize his staff or walk off or whatever. It was somewhat amusing. It was entertaining. It was funny. But as a staff member, you're like stressing.
Yeah,
anyway.
sure.
Yeah.
Your guest yesterday was really good. I was kind of surprised he was more into the Trump thing, but I get it. You know, not everyone's a Trump supporter, but very knowledgeable, man. That guy seemed pretty smart.
Yeah. He knew a lot about what was going on in the world, and I was impressed with that too. He is that type of a guy who would be, serious about what's going on in the country. He did, quote unquote, serve, and he's one of those guys who was serious about it, and got some leftover issues that he's getting past, hopefully. So yeah, shout out to Matthew with 1 T, caught in the middle, 0823.
Yeah, he was full of like information and like knew what he was talking about. The whole, I hate that whole argument about the economy wasn't good under Trump and Obama gave him a good economy, and that's like the biggest argument I can't stand when people bring it up.
Yeah,
they really don't know what they're talking about, like Joe kind of does.
Right,
and Joe's not a dumb, he's smart, like. It's just so crazy, but with him pulling all that up, it really shows, like, you got to have those numbers when you're talking about that. If not, then it's just back and forth going on.
Right. It's kind of arguing about something that's in the past that's hard. It's hard for normal people to know, or at least to prove, because normal people remember it being called bad. I remember people complaining about it. I remember saying that it was people saying it was the slowest recovery, and it was recovering in spite of the president, not thanks to the president. It was actually no thanks to the president. And so, yeah, Joe's like one of the only people I know who will say something like that, because I think it's the opposite of the truth. But they'll cite their pet numbers, their pet piddly facts that prop up the appearances to the people who are willing to be suckered by it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think Joe really worked in the labor force. He's probably sat at a desk most of his life, like governmental jobs and stuff like that, where like when people are out in the field, it's a lot different,
Yeah.
Not that they're better or who's better or whatever. It's just when you're out in the field and you got to, go in and get fuel. Like I did welding, and during Obama, it was terrible. Like I remember I'd have to go around and try and find deals to get fuel because you get tired of paying $4 a gallon, and I was running through 100 gallons a week.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I had to go find farmers to get better deals and stuff like that. But when Trump was in office, I was in my accident by then, but fuel was cheap. I wouldn't have been doing all that running around chasing $1 just to, save a little bit.
Right. Yeah, so true. It's pretty ridiculous.
I sent you some pictures on your Twitter. You don't have to pull them up.
I saw them. I snuck a peek of them.
I don't know if that's the greatest fact checking, because it's AI, but
right.
You kind of got to I think Minnesota. What's the guy from Minnesota?
Jaime from Minnesota.
Jaime says if you got to kind of dig through it to get to the right questions.
Oh, you're talking about the national parks. Let me see if I can pull these up because yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. I was going to change the subject. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the blacks. Did I put that in there? The blacks in the national parks. Oh yeah, I put it into the super chats. The blacks discrimination. Here it is. Discrimination at national parks, and this is something that Hold on, complicated business. I'm gonna figure out how to do this so I can see. Okay, so blacks being discriminated against in racism in national parks based on provided search results. It is evident that many national parks in the United States were defined, conceptualized, and managed by powerful white elites who are racists and eugenicists. And contributed to the diversity gap in U.S. parks, where blacks faced restrictions and inclusions and exclusions. So Great Smoky Mountains National Park, that's the one that has the picture of the Confederate hero, right? I think Mount Rainier, Acadia National Park. Okay, so that's the first one. Let me see if I can. Oh, come on. Here, let's see. There we go. So they were allowed, but people just assumed they might not be welcome. Many national parks did not explicitly ban, they call it African Americans, blacks from visiting, but rather there were unwritten rules, social norms, and historical context made them feel unwelcome or excluded. Many parks had segregated facilities, separate areas and times for black visitors. Even in the absence of explicit segregation, they faced discriminatory practices, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then you ask, so what explicit law banned blacks from entering national parks? There's no federal law that explicitly banned them from national parks. During Jim Crow, many national parks were subject to state and local segregation laws. The separate but equal doctrine upheld by the Supreme Court, Plessy versus Ferguson, 1896. It allowed segregation in public facilities, including national parks, as long as they were deemed separate but equal. So people just assumed blacks were banned from national parks? There was a widespread assumption they weren't allowed in national parks, but this is not necessarily based on explicit laws. Racial segregation and Jim Crow laws. And they didn't explicitly apply to national parks, but they contributed to a broader culture of segregation. In California specifically, no, because Joe from Phoenix mentioned Yosemite, no evidence to suggest state of California explicitly prohibited or restricted Black Americans from visiting Yosemite, nor national laws. However, it's important to note, blah, 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 they largely inaccessible to many blacks due to a combination of factors, limited transportation options. Only the horseback or on foot, the access to public spaces, lack of representation and advocacy. Blacks are not very outdoorsy. They're just do the...
It's only 1%.
Yeah. In 2009, visitation figures from 2009, blacks made up only 1% of visitors to Yosemite. Yeah, they're not very outdoors. They're not into that. Shout out to Tim Scott.
My biggest thing is like, okay, like this is a thing in the past. I'm like, I don't really care. But
Right.
If you're really not that interested in something, is it really underrepresentation? Is it really discrimination?
Right.
You know, like I'm not into archery. Does that mean like they're discriminating against me? I'd rather shoot a gun instead of a bow.
Yeah.
Like interests are a big thing.
Interest,
and I get it.
interest and
Back in
talent.
the day- Say it again.
Talent as well. Interest and talent. I'm thinking about, STEM. Oh, we need more women and blacks in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. But that's an issue of talent and interest in addition to, like, the bad parents. Really?
Yeah.
Bad parents.
The whole thing about Yosemite got me because I live right by Yosemite. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I can do research right here. I can look at stuff in the libraries here close by, but I just, just quickly just did the AI thing. But I know AI isn't the greatest thing.
Right.
There could be something I missed on that. Or
Of course.
It missed itself. Because I was doing some research about that Luigi Mangione.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Luigi, you mean. Luigi,
yeah. No problem. They were saying that in his manifesto that it was extremely close to the same wording and rhetoric of the Theodore Kaczynski's Unabomber manifesto.
Okay.
And it's not. But
oh, really?
No, it's not. Anyways, I've read that quite a bit.
That's interesting.
Quite a bit.
You read the Ted Kaczynski Unabomber thing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In there, let's see if this makes sense, because I'm sure you've heard people talk about this book. In that book, it talks about conservatives and being their own problem, trying to conserve something that in a time where, in a place and time where things are constantly changing. It's not just about like people say like, oh, it's about killing and blah, blah, blah. There's no real talk about killing. It's talking about a system and how political parties act and stuff like that. Like environmentalists, they think they're solving a problem, but instead they're just creating more. It's just like a faulty logic. I'd advise reading it to a lot of people, because then you'd realize like most of the stuff you've heard is just people just repeating something that they heard from somebody else that actually never read it.
Right. Yeah. I've heard bits of it from, maybe Azzmador when he was alive, and maybe Nick, the anchor baby, talking about the Unabomber's manifesto thing. And it's interesting that some of it didn't really turn out the way he was thinking, because you can't really predict the future. You can see issues that are coming up, especially if you're a smart person. And those issues are real, but the predictions tend not to be right.
I don't really think it was a book of predictions.
Oh,
I think
okay.
It was really a study, because he was like 16 in Stanford or
Unabomber.
I can't remember.
Ted Kaczynski.
Theodore Kaczynski. He was like 16, 17, and he was a part of MK Ultra, and he was in some Ivy League college apart when that was all going down. And to me, it almost sounds like it was like he took notes of stuff that he studied while he was,
He worked.
whatever. Was
He worked in
his
MK.
life.
He worked with people to do MK Ultra, or he was MK Ultra'd.
I think because he's 16 at that time, 16, 17. I think he worked with them, not as like a study subject.
Okay. What's
Because
MK
Charles
Ultra?
Manson was a part of that, the mind control stuff.
Well, I didn't ask for the movie. It autofilled the movie on me. Okay, I didn't even know it was a movie. MK Ultra was a human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, better known as CIA, to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So he knew sort of psychology type stuff.
Right, and that's why if you're in that book, it kind of you can see like it's almost like a study because he talks about like Democrats, conservatives, environmentalists, the race thing. There's a lot in it.
Oh,
Not that he's-
Washington
I'm not
Post says he was a test subject. Pardon my interruption.
He could have been. I'm not. That's what he was young. That's why I don't know if they would have done that as a test subject or what. But
Yeah.
even if he was a test subject, that could have been what led to him getting crazy because Charles Manson was a part of it.
Wow.
And there's a couple other major people I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
But that's a mess, But anyway, they were talking about that Luigi guy saying that in his manifesto, a lot of the wording was the same about how the voice of a riot or some other stuff like that. And he doesn't talk like that in the book.
Oh, the voice of a riot. That's more MLK. The riot is the voice of the unheard. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what I'd said. But I'll have to look it up. It's on. I don't want to say the site that I found it on.
Oh yeah.
Just not to name drop.
Right.
But they said something. I can probably pull it.
Interesting.
I'll get the exact wording real quick. I have it already. I got a screenshot anyways.
Wow, Ted Kaczynski barely died a year and a half ago. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Boy genius to a terrorist. And he killed people, I think, right? Kept on bombing different
bombs places.
Terrible.
But if you hear people talk about it, they say he sent bombs to these big Monsanto,
GMO guys.
They'll say stuff like that, but he didn't.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that Monsanto existed back then.
I'm pretty sure they existed. It just wasn't that as big yet. It wasn't as out there.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I didn't hear about Monsanto until after I started working with JLP. And there was some natural healing type doctor people talking about the GMOs in Monsanto.
Yeah.
So he didn't go after them. At least there's not documentation that says he actually did.
Right. He sent it to a couple of college professors, some other companies too. I can't think of, but they were all saying he's going after the environmental revolution or industrial revolution after these companies, and a lot of it wasn't even like that.
Yeah.
But people say they've read the book and then I can't find that dang thing. They say they read the book and they'll just quote things that they've heard from other people. That's why I'm trying to find this quote because I've heard so many people say this quote.
And they attribute it to the Unabomber?
Right. When all forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive.
And that's what he said? Allegedly?
That's what Luigi says. But in this article, it says, this is what I was saying, they said it's exactly, or parts of it are part of the Unabomber manifesto. That actual wording is not in that book, in the Unabomber manifesto.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm I hear people say stuff and they'll repeat stuff that they just heard from someone else thinking it's real. And you can tell they've never read the book, because if you read it, you would see that it's not in there. Or, you know, if you paid attention, you would see that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I let everyone know I'm crazy, so.
Yeah. Interesting. Thank you, man.
Hey, you hear about, one more thing. You hear about Caitlin Clark over here?
I did. Somebody tipped me off to what's going on with her.
Lost all respect for her, dude.
Not me. I expected that from her. I mean, I already, you know, I didn't lose all respect. Meaning, I don't really care. I knew that she was going to do that. I mean, somebody at that level, it's not like she's some based person who knows. She's just a normal person, you know? And so she said, this is from Daily Sneed on X. I want to say, quoting Caitlin Clark, who is Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year, okay? And I should have censored that. But anyway, she said, I want to say I've learned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege, she says. Yeah, we have the privilege of being raised right. But anyway, she didn't say that. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black with a capital B players. Maybe, I don't know if she put capital B. This league has kind of been built on them. And she's talking about the WNBA? Who cares? But anyway, the more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, you don't have to talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. Oh, Lord, a white savioress. And people are like, oh, early life check her. But I don't really care. I really expected this to see this from her. And I always said we should censor this because she's showing off she's too tall. Say again?
I thought she was going to be stronger about it. She put up with them, you know, like playing with, you know, the roughness of it. I wouldn't have said anything about that if it was me, but I'm sure they started asking question after question after question. You know, it's an interview. And so they're just digging away. She finally, it's like, yeah, there's white privilege. I hate when people say there's white privilege. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as privilege, you know?
Yeah. People are saying she's Jewish.
Society in the world.
I don't know if she is or not. She can't be Jewish. She's too athletic. I'm kidding around. Shout out to the Jews and the athletes.
No, that's pretty true.
No, but she's a normie. She's 22, 23. Way too young, by the way. Never mind. But that's what she said upon receiving the Time Athlete of the Year. And that's why I don't think she's leaving the NBA. Like, why would she leave the NBA? WNBA. WNBA is a big difference from NBA, but I still like her, and I still respect her. I don't think that, I don't know if she meant that. It's cringy, but I don't really hold it against her. Whatever. You don't want to get you don't want to get too into somebody, nor do you want to be judge someone too harshly based on something dumb or smart that they say. You don't want to judge them as good or bad.
Yeah, my whole thing is just like, we live in the most privileged society ever to exist. And then just to hear that, I'm always like, man, guys, you guys are just giving in, like, allowing, because then if someone said, well, she says there's white privilege, that means there must be, you know, then it's just like this whole...
No, she's 20. She's 23, and her favorite player, by the way, is a black gal. So I kind of knew that she liked black people, and of course, and she, being 23, I know I was young, but I was not dumb at 23. I could see through all that crap, but some people can't, and they're raised that way, or else she wants to please. Maybe she's a people pleaser or what? I don't know what's going on with her.
She looks like a people pleaser. Most white people are, but
yeah, and women too, big time.
Yeah.
So
right on. I took enough of your time.
Well, it's good to hear from you, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
You too.
Bye. Real quick, since I'm on this thing with the lost queen, Caitlin Clark. Should I stop? Should I throw away my T-shirt? Shall I burn my T-shirt, my Caitlin Clark T-shirt, or shall I wear it out of graciousness? Since we can be gracious, even though she's dumb and evil and a sucker. Brian Krassenstein. Another Chad. Is he Jewish too, or is he Christian or atheist or? Well, he's a liberal. Since right-wingers are PO'd, put out. He said the different word. Sorry, kids, don't read that. That Caitlin Clark spoke about white privilege. Let me better explain what it is. Maybe it will stop some of the anger, he said. Okay, Mom. Okay, Mama. White privilege doesn't mean, and we shouldn't be angry. It's no matter how silly and insane lies are spewed unanswered, even unanswered in the mainstream. White privilege doesn't mean your life has been easy. It doesn't mean that you haven't worked hard or faced struggles. It simply means that the color of your skin hasn't been one of the things making your life harder. So they claim, right? Which is not necessarily true, because people profile you as being white. You don't know. You don't know. You're just white. You're racist. Think about it this way. If two people are running a race and one of them has to carry an extra 50-pound weight, it doesn't mean the person without the weight doesn't have to run or didn't get tired. It just means they weren't held back by that additional burden of everybody, of your fellow blacks giving the blacks a bad reputation. White privilege is about systemic advantages that white people have in a society that historically and presently has favored whiteness. It's the benefit of not being racially profiled while driving, because you don't tend to act up and you tend to drive better. Of seeing white people who, and that's according to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, by the way. Blacks die in car accidents about twice their share of car owners, according to an article I read in the New York Post by John R. Lott Jr., PhD, okay, just FYI. And those who die in the car accidents, those blacks who die in the car accidents, are also more likely to have had prior moving violations before they died. So anyway, blacks are more reckless drivers. They're angry. Per capita. Of seeing people who look like you in positions of power. Well, white people aren't that shallow usually. You're encouraging white people to fall into the shallowness of the POCs, the anti-white suckers. Or of not worrying that your skin color will cause someone to assume the worst about it. Oh, that happens to the whites. Give me a break. Ever heard of Derek Chauvin? Ever heard of George Zimmerman? Ever heard of Kyle Jack Bauer, John Wick Rittenhouse? Ever heard of, what's his name that Carver gave to him? Daniel, Kyle Rittenhouse, Jack Bauer, John Wick, MacGyver, Penny, Daniel Penny. Michael Knight Penny. Michael Knight, shout out, Knight Rider. Don't hassle the Hoff. Did Hasselhoff have kind of curly hair like Daniel Penny? Shout out to Daniel Penny. Yeah, they assumed the worst about him because he's white. And not because he's white, but because they're brainwashed about the white people, because they pretend like this racism is so real. Anyway, it doesn't erase anyone's individual struggles. But it does highlight the fact, he thinks it's a fact, which is bias, which is lies, that POCs, people of color, face additional barriers that white people don't. That's right. People are more trusting of whites because whites per capita, more trustworthy. And that allows more whites to sometimes get away with stuff. Nice. And also they have the sense to hide it when they do their drugs, whereas the blacks do their drugs out in the open on the street sometimes. And recognizing white privilege isn't about feeling guilty. It's about understanding the reality so we can work together to make society more equitable for everyone, says this commie. You give me fever. Salesforce. Forget Salesforce, liberals. Look at the girly basketball, orange and white and black. But shout out to her. She's still, you can't call a woman a Chad. She's still a queen, a gal. She's still a lady. She rejected The View. She's like, I'm not a fan of The View. Give her a chance. She doesn't know better. So, white privilege is a myth. Fact. Oh, just shut the heck up. Sorry, kids. I shouldn't have shown that. But anyway, that's Brian Krassenstein, a liberal. Did Hake get to the point yet? So thank you for bringing that up. Look up where her family came from, Hake. Iowa, right? Aren't they from, I don't know, whatever. Shall we? Should we look into that? I'm not that interested. But people are saying, oh, she's Jewish or whatever. I don't care. I got some super chats to read and different things, I think. But let me get to TERRI in Oregon, who is on the line here. TERRI, thank you for calling and holding. What's up?
Hi, Hake.
Hey.
Well, I called to talk about the Daniel Penny thing. I
Cool.
had a realization when you were talking about it yesterday, but it was too late to call in. But okay, so I thought it was interesting that just the reaction to it was so different than another case that happened. So I wanted to kind of contrast the two.
Okay.
Yeah, so in 2017, there was a stabbing in Portland on the MAX trains.
Okay.
So, and it was a big, deal. 2 guys got killed.
Wow.
That tried to intervene. There was a crazy guy that got on the train, and he was kind of, I don't know, they said he was attacking, not physically, but verbally attacking and threatening these 2 teen black girls who are visibly Muslim, and he was making it racial or something like that. And some bystanders, some men, strong men, brave men, got up and intervened, and he ended up stabbing 2 of these guys, or three guys actually got stabbed, but 2 of them died.
Wow.
And they the media here and people were just making these guys into heroic figures because they intervened. And there was all this propaganda about how, we should intervene if something is happening, if you're in a public place and someone's being attacked, or trainings on how to intervene and be a good bystander and that kind of thing. And it's just interesting to me that something similar was going down in the subway, and the guy that intervened and stopped the crazy person from hurting anyone is dealing with all of this mess because of it. Isn't it interesting?
It is. That's a... Both of these stories are kind of lessons, sort of. Wow, this is the boy, this fat guy with the splotchy hair. What does he have, alopecia?
Oh, did you look him up? Did you look up the killer?
Yeah, I did.
Jeremy Joseph Christian.
Was he fat?
He was a little fat, yeah.
Alopecia. I don't know if it's alopecia, but his hair's all...
I don't know if it's alopecia or...
His hair's wild. Does he have a Hitler stash?
And people thought he was some kind of white supremacist too, just because he was saying racial slurs, and they were all concerned,
right?
When he came to trial, that he would be coherent and some kind of voice for that, but he wasn't. He was just some crazy dude.
Yeah, and then crazy people start saying what everybody thinks, what everybody thinks.
I don't think everybody thinks
but many normal people think different things about Muslims and this and that, and or they're told not to say or think stuff, and that being told not to say or think stuff will make them think stuff. Like the N-word was always like nothing to me. But I remember one time my friend said the N-word, and it got me saying it. It was Mexican. It was Americanized Mexican.
You said the Mexicans taught you the N-word.
Yeah, not that they taught me, but it, like they brought it to mind. It had never been on my mind. I didn't care about it. But it was funny because he got in a bar fight and called a white frat boy a blanking N-word after he got sucker punched by the white guy. And it just kind of cracked me up. And so but anyway, like it doesn't mean anything, really. He's just, like you said, a crazy person ranting. And it doesn't necessarily mean, like...
Well, he might have been threatening these girls. I mean, he ended up killing 2 people, so he could have been a real physical threat to these, like, teenagers. That's what
I was trying to get at, actually, before I derailed myself. It's a lot of times unwise to intervene because you get yourself in trouble either with the law or you get yourself killed.
Yeah.
And Daniel Penny, fortunately, he didn't get himself killed. He said in an interview I saw on Anchor Baby, maybe, that he was in a very vulnerable position because he was on his back, and if he let go, Jordan Neely could have turned around and, I don't know, stabbed him or who knows what, or beat him or, pinned him down and whatever. So he put himself in a vulnerable position and he had to hold on. I don't know if it had to be all 6 minutes like my guest said yesterday, but I don't know. Maybe we need an egg timer. My chat was making fun of that comment. Shout out. But also you get in trouble with the law. So cops are not wanting to do their jobs, and normal people are not wanting to look out for their community because you're gonna catch a lawsuit. Daniel Penny could you get a murder charge. You can't even defend your store or yourself. Remember that bodega shop owner in New York who was charged, and fortunately, like, they stopped charging him after he stabbed the guy in the back, the thief. So it's a big mess. It's an interesting parallel. Thanks for bringing this up. I wasn't really familiar with this story, interestingly.
Oh, no, yeah, it was such a big deal. It was such a, people made it into a huge deal, too, because they were all upset about Trump and, white supremacy. And, we don't have a lot of that going on here. So any kind of incident is going to get...
It's so funny that people connect this to Trump.
It was sad, though, too, because these 2 guys were being heroic and, they got killed. And
were they whites who got killed?
Yes, of course they were white. Like a black person would intervene.
Oh, true, yeah. Black people are smarter than to intervene, honestly.
Less likely.
Yeah. In a sense, yeah. And I don't blame them for not intervening. That's more street smart, honestly. It's not just sometimes these blacks, it's don't care. It's apathy. But sometimes it's just smart not to intervene. And whites don't always have that smartness. Yeah. What a terrible mess.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
You should burn that T-shirt.
This T-shirt?
The Caitlin Clark T-shirt.
Oh, that's funny. Why?
Yeah, I don't like that shirt.
There was another one that I was eyeing, and it was like a lighter blue T-shirt that had her. So maybe I could get that one instead.
No, I don't think you should be wearing Caitlin Clark
swag. Why not?
Because I get jealous when you're wearing Caitlin Clark because you think she's so amazing and perfect, and I'm like stewing about it. Like,
that's
so I'll
funny.
just be in chat making like angry comments and faces. I mean, do what you want, of course, but
right.
That's my vote.
That's funny. No, I'll probably. I'm sure she'll redeem herself, and then I'll be able to wear it and not look like I'm supporting the fake notion of white privilege, or whatever you want to call it. Right on. But thank you for the feedback and the request. I shall consider your input.
I mean, maybe it would make a good video. You know how you do the videos at the beginning and the end of the Hake report?
I'm not going to burn it on camera. That's
Oh, please, Hake.
that would be that's not my style.
Well, how would you get rid of it if you were to get rid of it?
Goodwill.
Throw it in the ocean?
No, I would give it to Goodwill and feel good about it. No, I don't know. I've never gotten rid of a shirt. I normally don't have stuff like that makes a statement. NRA is kind of rhino, the National Rifle Association. They're kind of rhino, but they are also smeared, much maligned. And so I sometimes wear NRA swag. But it's I don't see myself ever doing something like that. That's like, I'm not Kid Rock that I'm going to shoot up my Bud Light and say, America, or whatever.
Okay.
But at least not that I know of. I don't think that I really want to do that. But thank you for the suggestion.
Oh, you can put it in your suggestion box.
Oh, yeah, I definitely can. It's a good idea.
All right. Thanks, Hake.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. 1-888-775-3773. There are super chats here. Let me just double check over here. Celestial Lord A says, money. Watch this on X. And it has a tip. Interesting. I shall check it out. It's a guy in the U.S. Army named Cersei. S-E-A-R-C-Y. Tip. Boom. Thank you, Celestial Lord, with your Rumble rant. Oh, and another one. Hold on. Oh, no, it might be the same one. Sometimes on Rumble, it looks like they gave twice, but they didn't actually give twice. Thank you over there on the Rumble crew. There was a few diamonds over on the DLive crew. Aries 1 with a diamond says nothing. Thank you, Aries 1, also always a supporter. Greenwall says, please play Angels by Phil Hahn and Steve Johnson. Nice, man. You know what? I was just listening to that. You want me to play Angels We Have Heard on High by Phil Hahn and Steve Johnson? Hey, I'm glad you remember that, man. That's funny. I was going to play something, and I was like, I guess I'll skip Angels We Have Heard on High. I was thinking, because I was just thinking of playing them today. That's what my plan is, to play them. Phil Hahn and Steve Johnson you can't find them on the internet, okay? You can only get them from Hake. You can only get them from Hake. Actually, let me send that in the, let me give you guys an early Christmas present. The Hake Report, music, Xmas. Oh, no, Christmas. Hold on. Okay, Christmas music. In the live chat, assuming that my YouTube is preserved, we're at 49 minutes in or so. I'm sending you guys a Dropbox, and you can download those songs and enjoy them. Merry Christmas from Hake and Phil Hahn and Steve Johnson 20 years ago, or whenever this was that they gave it to me. Phil gave it to me. Shout out. Nice. Some old friends. Actually, I don't know if I knew Steve Johnson. But right on, yeah. I'll paste that into the DLive crew chat too. Nice. Boom. And let me click it just to make sure that it is downloadable. Yeah. And so those are the originals. They're MP3s. I don't know. I got them off of, he gave them to me as a CD, and so I gave them to you guys. I ripped them and gave them to me. I had to send them to him, too, because he lost it. He's like, hey, do you have that? Every now and then I'll be playing it in my car. And I'll send him a screenshot. I don't talk to him that much. So don't dox him. Don't harass. Right on. Thank you for the request, Greenwall. I was thinking, Mary, did you know? Did you know? Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know that your baby boy was born on Christmas morning? Something like that. A different Christmas morning from the one that we do, probably. And I was also thinking the best one. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. And No Pool Party Tonight is also the best Hake song. I would have preferred Cole in my stocking, says Carver. No, this is actually good music, especially some of them. So a couple of singers, and they're Christian. It's Christian, and it's Christmas. Shout out. I'll paste it one more time in the YouTube chat for you guys. I'll paste it in the Facebook crew chat, too, for you faithful few. Nobody's there. Okay. Oh, and in the Rumble crew. There you go, Rumble crew. So, Merry Christmas. Sweet. From Hake and Phil and Steve. Okay, maybe I will play Angels. I'll have to drag that over. Nazulium bought a diamond. Neely better tell Floyd fake 20s still don't spend. Whatever, man. I'm laughing with them, not at them. And thank you for your ice cream and diamond. Appreciate that. Fake 20s don't spend. They'll call the cops on you. And rightly so, honestly. If you try to pass it twice, what are you, so out of your mind, or are you that dishonest that you try to pass a fake 20 twice? I think you're out of your mind, on drugs or whatever. Whoa. What a mess. Let me check over here on the Streamlabs. Thank you, Lin Yen Chin. Appreciate that. And, hey, Cisal, Adito, and others. Oh, wow. Okay, so hoping that you guys kept it clean, I shall zoom in faith. Thank you to someone with the nice thing about PTSD yesterday. That was cool. Great conversation about PTSD. Unplanned, by the way. Someone bought 5 coffees, a breeze among the shaking reeds. Oh, that's a nice, you conjure a nice image. An ineffable wind. Ineffable? I've never heard of a wind being ineffable. And that doesn't mean, not uneffable, ineffable. Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words, not to be uttered. The ineffable Hebrew name that Gentiles write as Jehovah. Ineffable. Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. Okay, but he's saying ineffable words. Ineffable wind blows gently in my heart. Okay, indescribable but great, but a gentle wind blows in my heart. A savior for all mankind who is surrounded by the mystery of creation and reaches with one hand to grasp the sun. Lovely. Aw, thanks, someone. Nice to hear from you. I wonder if I know who this someone is. I might. Shout out. Well, I have in my mind this Oregon gal, a different Oregon gal from the one you heard earlier. Sal bought a, that's cool, I like that, appreciate that, and it totally might not be that person. Sal bought a coffee, Hakester! Whoa, awfully familiar. Is Hakester a Mexican term? Merry Christmas. Christmas Isn't the Christmas tree emoji so nice? Christmas present emoji. The biblical question reminds me of one on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Did you find God or did God find you? Reminds me of an MXPX song. And I didn't really listen to MXPX much at all. Not that I didn't like them. Some of their stuff I liked. Anyway, the MXPX song says, "You found me, you found me, you found me." Only it sounds a little bit nicer. Question reminds me of one of my favorite verses. Nosotros lo amamos porque él nos amó primero. We love because he loved us first. We love one another because he loved us first. Which means we love him because he first loved us. Oh, I could have waited and just read her whole thing. Heart eyes emoji. Hearts around in the face emoji. Hearts. Once you really see and feel just how much God loves you, your entire life changes. Big heart emoji. Very nice, C. Sal. It is a good verse. Cool. Right on. And that's in 1 John. I like 1 John 4, 7, and 8. It's a great song, too. The Little Rock. Oh, Lord. I better censor this. Meaning I better read it off camera. Off screen, right? Thank you, C. Sal. Lord have mercy. Let me read this. And I'm not going to call it mess, even though it's implied. Hi, sweetheart. Wow, acting like I'm his prison buddy. Hi, Bubba. How are you? Isn't it so sweet how I wasn't around for 2 days? Two! And still got shout-outs. I haven't been this popular since the Dunkin' conversation, Dunkin' Donuts. I love my impact. Getting a thrill from that attention. A love-hate relationship with that attention. Like getting attention, but also don't like getting doxxed and harassed. You know, and I'm not for doxing and harassment, nor am I for you getting all into your thrills, but do what you want. LYC would be the Z one if I weren't here. It's weren't here, not wasn't here, because it's a hypothetical. And apparently I don't deserve to have a Merry Christmas. Oh, come on. Merry Christmas. Has what's his name been naughty? I don't know what you... I do love that so many of my enemies, like blank, and as of yesterday, blank, left simply because of me. I wish it would be blank. James, aren't you tired of our feud? I don't have a feud with you. I have no feud. You do not occupy my mind. That role is Joe from Phoenix. He occupies my mind. No, I mean, he has before. You know, when we get into arguments and that bitterness gets into the argument, beta. Get my spittoon. You know what? I used to have a spittoon because I spit because I wasn't into throwing up. But lately, I must be losing my religion because I pretend to throw up, and I find that distasteful. Nobody likes to throw up, and it's not even that funny to pretend to do so. Nice. What are you getting your master for Christmas and everyone else? I give everybody my love for Christmas. Love. God's love. Agape love. I laugh because it could be described as laughable. Random question. What do you think about the B's in the LGBTs? I don't think about them much. I knew a guy who said that he was that he guesses that he was that. He was a Christian. He went to that college that I went to, that supposedly Christian college. Shout out. Just, fellow lost people. I agree with Joel Friday. Your S-word duality. I can't even say X. That sounds so dirty. Sexuality. which is not yours. It's just like this mess that it attaches to you and you attach to it, is largely perversion overall, including the so-called straight, and it's not something to identify with. So shout out to Joel Friday and JLP and all those other wise men. Have you ever been assaulted for how often you use the N-word? And why are you so cool with saying that? You are one with a hard R. I like that you don't like me, but you didn't like me because of my skin and sexuality. Be better. Be better. Oprah says that. Oprah and Michelle Obama said, be better, be better, be better. And so that rings in my mind. Finally, do these super chats help with the build fund? Do the cash apps? What about those cheap mugs and shirts from Teespring? What's tax deductible? Only donations to Bond are tax deductible. Keep being a shameful liar, James. Bye. 3 thumbs down emojis. Wow, this guy has 3 thumbs. Hit left, right, and Satan's thumb. Because he's under Satan's thumb. Shout out. Oh, what was I going to say about the N-word? No, I've never been assaulted by a black. Or by anybody, really. That I recall. What's up, Farsights? He says, be better, Hake. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sweet. And let me just double check, because there are sometimes little super chats that sneak in from the other platforms. Cash App, Ko-fi, Ko-fi. And I will get to your calls, 1-888-775-3773. But let's see. Thanks again, CSAL. And someone and others. What did I want to cover? Okay, so this is a funny thing. I thought that I retweeted it, but did I not? This is funny to me. If Biden, somebody's posted this, if Biden didn't step down, Trump would have lost, since Trump can only beat women. Isn't that funny? No? Yes. To me, it's funny. Cracked me up. This person posted that on X a month ago. Yes, that's right. Oh. Let me see if I have this. This goes to the intellectuals, the lamos. You know who you are. Some of you don't know who you are. Let's see. Wow. Maybe I put it here. No. I might not have. Oh, okay. Well, this is a post from Cernovich, who said something that I really agree with. Man. And I put it in my, I know where I put it. Okay, so he was basically saying, let me explain it, that it's liberal, it's a liberal thing to be talking about your degrees and your credentials and stuff like that. Conservatives don't really do that because that's spiritually S-word lib. Blank lib. And that's true. Man, I think I must have uploaded it to my screenshots. Oh, yeah. Dang. It is. It's so true, man. You kidding me? Because we all know, and everybody knows, that these dummies. Oh, here, let me show myself. That there are dummies who get degrees. I remember when I was in college that we had a PhD professor, and we're like, oh, he has a PhD. Sucker, any old sucker can get a PhD. And of course, they were judging him. We were judging him. I guess I sort of joined in a little bit on that. But it's true. It's not a sensible thing to be all a respecter of degrees and, oh, I got my degree at Harvard. Especially nowadays with how affirmative action minded they are. You can't really respect it. Man, oh man, oh man. This is going to bother me no, it's not going to bother me. It's not necessarily going to bother me if I don't find it. But I censored it. I went through all the trouble to censor it. And so I want to show it. Maybe I put it in here. I don't even remember how long ago it was. This was a few days ago. And since I went to the trouble of censoring it, it's not even that important or good. Let me just go through here. But isn't that true? Liberals are into that stuff. Liberals aren't. Conservatives don't care about that stuff. I guess man, what did I do with it? I know where I have it. Duh. I have it on my phone. Did I not upload it? I might not have uploaded it. It's bothering me. Okay, I found it. Beep, 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 beep. Right-wingers don't rely on credentials because that's spiritually lib. We don't talk about degrees, etc. A lot of people learned this week who can hang and who can't. And he posted this on the 8th. And it ain't the former libs. What absolute lightweights. No wonder they only talk to each other. I think he's talking about the Daniel Penny situation. Because, hold on. Because a lot of people were mighty quiet on the Daniel Penny thing. I guess, they say. And being quiet on that thing, if you're somebody who likes to comment about stuff, it's not a respectable thing. Unless, you don't necessarily get to everything. So you can cut people some slack. Here. What's going on? Oh, yeah, this is the one. I'm such a boomer. Man, pardon me. Never mind. Whatever. This is bothering me. And then you hear people like... Part of the reason why I'm thinking of this is because there's people like Joe from Phoenix who's all into that degree thing. He admits he's a snob in that regard because he grew up next to like a Ivy League school or something, or working at one, or I don't know. And so and a lot of people have their different points of pride, okay? And it's wrong, and you cut people slack for it. But it is still stupid, and he admitted that it's snobby, but, a lot of times that awareness, that admission is there's still a point of pride there. He doesn't really see that it's wrong, I guess. Okay, now I think I have it. Maybe. Lord. So... Yeah, people who have, you can I understand the respect on some level towards people who've accomplished getting a degree at Harvard on some level, because it shows that you can jump through hoops, and not everybody can jump through hoops. But it's not that great either, because that just shows that you're a sucker, really. You fell into being a respecter of institutions, and these institutions are not all that respectable. Okay, hold on a second. Here it is. Now that I've already read the thing. Let's see, what's the number on it? Where did it go? 46. Oh, darn, not that one. Anyway, let me just move on, because I feel like this is too halting. Oh no, hold on, 38. This is important. There's the point. See? Cerno agrees with me. Right-wingers don't rely on credentials because that's spiritually woman. You know how blacks are with, they're all into education? It's like a black thing. We got to get our education. Education is the way. And by education, they mean they don't mean like, the Hispanics get ser educado, like you know how to act. No, that's not what, that does help. It helps to know how to act. But their knowing how to act becomes their morality in the DC world. These educated people, the liberal DC world. I interviewed a guy, Sagar Enjeti. Remember that guy? He's like Indian, co-hosts with this Crystal Ball gal. And he has fallen into, on some level, and I'm not completely holding it against him, because it's kind of smart to be able to play the game. It's cringy. It's kind of like Caitlin Clark-esque. But you cut people slack. Fell into, like, Sagar Enjeti, for example. He shunned Congressman Steve King because everybody was shunning him. But that's not why he did it. He didn't admit that was why. He said, he used terms like cockroaches related to people. It was racialized language, something like that. So I don't associate with him. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Where is the spirit of the freedom of speech? There is nothing wrong with how Congressman Steve King treats people. He's a gentleman. He's a Christian, Catholic. Shout out. And they smeared him because he's good for the country, like Trump. Because he's for a wall, he's for deportations, he's for not funding through Obamacare the birth control, because we don't need birth control, we need babies in this country. We don't need birth control. You kidding me? We need babies. And so, like, a lot of times it becomes their morality. It's fine to jump through hoops and all that stuff. Who's that guy who jumped through those hoops and yet he's still a independent thinker? Not just Trump. Clarence Thomas. Jumped through the hoops. Educated, smart, sensible, unmoved, unshakable. And people love him. So, don't fall for that stuff. And it's interesting because it's easy for us to sit back here in our Hake Report Snake Pit chat and Hake Report podcast and the Hake Report and JLP show and all that stuff and look down on them or think I would never fall for that. But when you go over there, you get into the courtroom or you get into the halls of Congress or whatever, possibly it's intimidating. It's like a different world. And so they get sucked in and fall into that world. You look down on all these politicians who act like they're all tough and independent thinking and don't care and whatever. And then when they get in there, they fall in line or whatever because of either the intimidation or the seduction or whatever is going on. You don't really realize how weak you are. So, nice. I usually use the term dumb libs, but S-word lib is a fair word. I'm a Christian. Anyway, child friendly, family friendly. I don't use that term, but I don't begrudge him the use of that term. It's a good term, actually. Kind of accurate. Dumb libs. What a mess. Let's see, what else? Where else are we? Oh, speaking of jumping through the hoops, Harmeet, Dhillon. Speaking of these people who've gotten their credentials and their positions of power, Trump wants to have this gal, Harmeet Dhillon. I'm extremely honored by President Trump's nomination to assist with our nation's so-called civil rights agenda. If you have to have the civil rights agenda, you want this gal. I guess. Even though it's another woman. It's been my dream to be able to serve our great country. I'm so excited to be part of an incredible team of lawyers led by Pam Bondi. Lord. Another woman replacing Matt Gaetz for AG. I cannot wait to get to work. Nominee, you know. I would not be here today without my amazing mother and brother support, my beloved father, Tejpal, and husband, Sarv, who did not live to see this day. Rest in peace, husband. She's a widow already. Relatively young lady. Not that young, but I hope I will honor their memories with God's grace. She's the one who had that weird prayer that Anchor Baby played at was it CPAC or the RNC? Might have been the RNC. Trump posted, I'm pleased to nominate Harmeet K. Dhillon, Dhillon, as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights of the U.S. Department of Justice. I wish that they would dismantle this so-called civil rights thing, but she's a critic of the civil rights establishment, so okay, as so-called civil rights goes, she's for actual fairness. Overall, I think. Could be worse, you know. She's stood up consistently to protect our cherished civil liberties, including taking on big tech for censoring our free speech, representing Christians who were prevented from praying together during the China virus. He called it COVID there. He slipped and called it COVID. And suing corporations who use woke policies, Lord, to discriminate against their workers. Harmeet is one of the top election lawyers in the country, fighting to ensure that all and only legal votes are counted. Graduate of Dartmouth. All the Indians graduate from Dartmouth. Dartmouth. By all the Indians, I mean she and... Who's that guy historian? Obama's America, 2016. Anyway. Dinesh D'Souza. University of Virginia Law School, clerked, blah, blah, blah. Respected member of the Sikh religious, S-I-K-H, sometimes pronounced Sikh, sometimes pronounced Sikh, and whatever, rightly or wrongly, religious community, and she had that Sikh prayer, where she's, la, 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 la. In her new role at the DOJ, she'll be a tireless defender of the constitutional rights and enforce our so-called civil rights and election laws fairly and firmly. Congratulations, Harmeet. I like how he used her first name. Shout out to Trump. So nice, huh? Nice. Not that nice. Trump, JLP has a old picture with her, by the way, from like 2009. Sweet. Also sweet is this funny little post from Trump. They were freaking out about this. It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. DJT. Nice. And so this gal who normally cusses, Marlene Robertson, I didn't know she was Canadian. She's big on X. As a Canadian, I didn't know she's Canadian. I find this post extremely offensive and insulting. But allowances must be made when it comes talking in the passive voice. Shake my head. Where am I? Allowances must be made when it comes to a malignant, narcissist, fascist. Lord. I feel like Lin Yan Shin would have something to say about all that talk. In severe cognitive decline with the vocabulary of a third grader and the impulse control of a toddler. Lord. Another woman looking down on a man. I cracked. I'm growing. Marlene Robertson. Not to be confused with the Duck Dynasty Robertsons. Whatever. So that's what she posted yesterday. All pretended to be mad. And Trump posted this on probably Truth Social. Why is she even paying attention? She's Canadian. And she's a woman. And she doesn't... Narcissist, look at yourself. Fascist, look at yourself. Severe cognitive decline. You think so? Trump? Vocabulary of a third grader. No, that's called being smart. When you speak at a fourth grade level, they say fifth grade level is what politicians are supposed to do. When you do fourth grade level, then everybody can understand you. You're speaking simply and to the point. Become as a child. That's Trump. And so he's smarter than that. He understands all that big talk, fancy talk, but he speaks to the people, the normal people. Fourth grade speaking level is more persuasive. And because you sound like a little bit more honest because you're being direct and people can understand you. You're not talking for pages and pages like Obama did, for example. You're being direct. You're answering the questions. Impulse control of a toddler. Psh. That's another man-bashing thing. Bashing the men. Because men are impulsive in some different ways. But I don't know. I think Trump is pretty well self. She's not even American. Stop. Emoji. That's what I said. Follow James Anton Hake on X. It's a fun account, sort of. So that's that gal. Can you imagine Luigi? By the way, Luigi Mangione, suspected United Healthcare CEO shooter, appears to be eating a hash brown before his arrest. It's the last hash brown he'll get to have in a while, maybe. What a mess. I felt for him when I saw this a little bit. Until I saw him, like, acting out. Remember I don't know if you guys saw, he was outside the courthouse acting out. Look, this is him. They found his social media. This is his link tree. Computer nerd, ninja, runner, meditator or whatever. Yoga maybe? Lifting weights, book nerd, gorilla mindset, Cernovich fan? Look at this guy with his too big of smile, overgrown second stage of adolescence guy. Mushroom brain. Wow, drugs. Cow judge. I don't understand that. Yin and yang, good and evil. What's that? This used to be a surfing thing, by the way. A surfing logo. Anyway, Luigi. A mess. Look, I saw his Twitter. Back in 2022, he said, 7 years ago, I gave my high school senior speech on this topic. The future. The future. Utopia or dystopia? With, I think that with AI. ASI, artificial superintelligence, which is AI. AI and ASI, same thing, right? The topics ranging from conscious artificial intelligence to human immortality. Blah, blah, blah. So he was into himself. But look at all these likes. Was he this popular before or after he committed the murder? Or is he popular? Some people like him. But his most recent tweets were from a few months ago, I guess. Into talking about lab-grown food and mess. Retweeting this guy, Andrew Huberman, who's like this sort of strong doctor guy, I guess, sort of podcasty guy. Smartphones and mental health. Retweeting Andrew Huberman. Andrew Huberman inspired a terrorist. See these normie, liberal, centrist weirdos. Shout out. Not weird. Luigi. Look at him. Spiritually S-word lib. Put an MSE and BSE in computer science at Penn. Oh, Lord. Look at him. He has 250,000 followers. Almost. Or did. I think they suspended his account or something. Did they hide it completely? I'm now sort of curious. Pep Mangione. X.com. Oh, shoot. I kind of want to see this. Pardon me. Yeah, I mean, he's still there. Oh my gosh, now he has 397 followers. Okay, so you can still see his account. See, shout out to X. X leaves it public, whereas all these dumb liberals, look, he has his shirt off in the beautiful wild. Well, you guess you're supposed to get your sunshine. Interesting. See, all these dumb, evil liberals hide his stuff so, like, normal people can't go and, like, see what he was about. What a mess. I don't know if he had an IG or a Facebook, but IG and Facebook and old school X used to, like, hide his stuff. Oh, we don't want to glorify him or something, or we don't want the normal people to go see what he was about. We have to just rely just on the authorities or the mainstream media. It's ridiculous. A sucker. Let me show you the front of CNN. I wonder if CNN still has it. The front of CNN.com had this moving image of him that he was like shaking around. Yeah, look at this guy. Look at that drama. Please. This sucker acting like he's so important. Look at that. Ridiculous. Making a scene. Talk about an ego trip. Is that high testosterone, though? That's high testosterone. Ridiculous. What did he say? And CNN is so interested in what he said. He's a crazy person. Insane, evil, angry person. This is the guy who shot the CEO, FYI, if you haven't caught up. Who cares, Hake? Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Makes for, like, exciting little scene, though. It kind of attracts attention. Very dynamic footage. The cop right there, He's like rolling his eyes. Oh, Lord, come on. Drama. Please. All right. What's next? He had a psychotic break. You think so? Well, catch Joel Friday TV. He is coming up soon, guys. Joel Friday TV. Let me make sure that I'm set to scheduled to go to him. Joel Friday. What happened to Luigi? If you want to hear what he's about, catch Joel Friday. And even if you don't, Joel Friday TV is coming up. Let me check on the chats, the live chats. You guys were sort of funny yesterday. In my conversation with Matthew, caught in the middle, 0823. Let me refresh, check for any super chats that may have come in. Oh, a coffee from Popcorn's Thump Keg. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Wow. It's been there a while. I didn't even have to refresh. Look at these long coffees. I spoil you guys. I don't mind. There's a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open. They're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open. That's a quote from President-elect Donald J. Trump during his most recent interview with NBC, referring to the jail housing the January 6th prisoners. Nice. He has stated that he plans to pardon most of the people who are jailed as a result of the incident. But one thing that I think I missed was that quote that I started with. If that's the case, that the jails are so filthy and disgusting they shouldn't even be open, do you think that people supporting J6 pardons will become vocal about improving the prison conditions? Or does the extent of their interest only span the J6 prisoners sent? Probably some people only care about the J6ers. DC types ought to fix their own mess. If Trump thinks, and DC is known to be very corrupt. I mean, look at their corrupt mayor. Is it a DC prison? Don't know. Federal government, corrupt. I heard, and I don't know if it's true, that the January 6ers are particularly discriminated against in these jails because they have blacks and liberals running the show. So they're getting worse treatment than even the normal, like the black criminals and other criminals who are in there, who are also suffering with filthy conditions, apparently, maybe. What a mess. If Trump thinks the jails shouldn't even be open, that means the conditions must be pretty terrible. He said the jail shouldn't even be open. Do the non-January 6ers have some special disposition that makes them immune from these horrible conditions? Of course not. Maybe there's some rooms that are worse than others, you know? There's certain areas of certain buildings that are worse than other areas of those same buildings. And maybe the J6ers are in those areas, and the normal people, it's a toss-up whether you get one of the worst, really worst parts or less worse parts. Don't know. Of course not, he says. As I've said before, a lot of supporters of the J6ers didn't give a crap about, sorry kids, jail conditions until someone they wanted out was in the jail. Then it was time to sound the alarm. Because they weren't paying attention to it, man. And oftentimes it's liberals complaining. And when liberals complaining, you take the complaints with a grain of salt. It may not be right, but you tend to dismiss what liberals say because liberals are dishonest and they're mamas. And, but sometimes liberals are saying true things. There's true facts. Or factual stuff. And so that's why it's good to hear people out, and it may or may not be true what the liberals are complaining about, because it tends to be a liberal mama thing to complain about the conditions that the criminals are in. I've never liked the fact that they say that people get R-worded, raped in prisons and jails and stuff. I've never liked that. I'm like, why do they shouldn't allow that? You kidding me? But things have gotten crazy, and it's a mess. But no, that shouldn't go with the package of getting sent to jail. You get sent to prison to be by yourself, to be bored, to be deprived of a lot of fun, to be have to work, to have to be a slave, unpaid slave labor. Well, they pay you a little bit. I guess it's okay. Not to be allowed to be on TV and internet and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they're allowed all that stuff. Not to be killed and shanked and raped and all that other, and robbed and what a mess. And prison gangs and all that stuff. They need to bring back segregation and good sense. I want Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And somewhat gross food that you may not want to eat, but it's good for your health, like Sheriff Joe Arpaio gave them. I hope Trump's statement will cause some type of attention to be paid. Speaking in that passive voice, man. Cause some people to pay attention, some type of attention to the horrible jail conditions and some improvements, and they make some improvements. I'm with you, Popcorn Stump Cake. I'm a good liberal mama like you. Yeah. Nice. I will say, Popcorn Stump Cake, that I spit. Pooh! I recoil when I hear my competitors and others acting like, oh, we have common cause with Black Lives Matter because police are violating people's rights. No, you don't. Don't buy it. There's good and evil people, maybe, on many sides. On many sides. There's people who are suckers on some issue, but they're on the right track with others. And whatever. A lot of prisons, it don't happen that way. There's a lot of whites, and they stick together from the weight pit to the cafeteria, and they do segregate the prisoners in many. Yeah, I've heard that, TDS. Summarize it, Hake. Don't read this moron's entire novel. But yeah, you know what? If anybody is going to bring the right attention, because Trump is an open-minded person in the right way. Not so open-minded that his brain leaked out, but an open person, and he will call attention to it, and yeah, maybe your hope might be fulfilled. Popcorn. Sutton. Nice. What's up, Rumble Crew? What's up, Ineffable Wind? Pray for Luigi. He's blind. He didn't know, I guess. That's wild. CEO, gone. And you guys made the point, by the way, that, and it's true, that that guy's not more important than anybody else who gets murdered. But it was so in your face, caught on camera, shocking like that. It's interesting that he did it right in front of the camera. I wonder if he knew. I wonder if he was aware that it was right in front of the camera. And so all of that, and it was a big deal, and it was like the motive of like politically motivated, you know, because of you know, the health insurance. They try to act like their health insurance companies are these demons, and not the government, and not the people who exploit insurance companies. There are people who exploit the insurance companies. Oh, just use it for insurance. One thing my dad taught me was you have insurance for the stuff that you can't afford, the stuff that's like catastrophic. You know, say you're going to need to pay $10 or $20,000 on some health issue or some car accident or whatever. You use it for that. You don't necessarily, let's say you get in a little fender bender. You weren't paying attention, or maybe no fault of your own. You get in a little fender bender. You don't necessarily even want to go through insurance for that sometimes, because then the insurance rate that you have to pay every month or every year or half year, whatever, you're gonna have to pay more. So you use insurance wisely. You use credit cards wisely. Pay it all off at the end of the month. Stuff like that. That's my dad taught me. I mean, you have the car insurance, and you have a big deductible. So that means you have a lower monthly payment because you have a big deductible, because you don't intend to use it every little fender bender. You just work it out with them off this spot. And hopefully you drive defensively and smartly and wisely, you know? Whatever. Nice. Christian in Utah is on the line over here. Christian, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Hake, how's it going, man?
Going well. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you too, man. Hey, I was just like thinking random thoughts here, you know. So recently I saw a movie that depicts the birth of Jesus, and like I was just thinking in one scene of that movie where his birth actually happened, and like everybody was kind of tripping out, like King Herod, and he was just kind of saying, he's like, go find me that Savior that's so-called been born, and go find me every male that's been born recently. I want to know who the Savior is. Like, where is he? Go find him for me. Yeah. Like, now. And I just saw, like, when he couldn't get to that, like, thing that he wanted, I guess, just to see who it was or whatever he intended to do, I can just see, like, his own head just, like, made him go crazy.
Herod.
And so,
King Herod.
Yeah. King Herod. Yeah. And so, just like, I just kind of thought of like the thoughts and how they can destroy you, and just anger and all that. And that's just what I thought about. So I thought that was cool. So. Yeah. A lot of times you see in these Bible stories, evil human nature that's so relatable. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just thought it was so amazing just to, I don't know, like, even though it's just a movie and it's just acting, you know, like you can kind of see just like that situation and how it unfolded from the Bible, and just it's amazing. It really is. I don't really have any more thought on that. I just kind of wanted to share that with you, and just, you know, like the things that you guys teach at Bond made me think of that. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, according to the story, he had every boy 3 and under killed, and so like the angel warned Joseph to take his family down to Egypt in hiding. And it was so weird in the movie because it seemed like, I don't know if they just changed it for the movie. Yeah. But yeah, he said that at first. He's like, yeah, I want every male child like killed like immediately. But then his soldiers supposedly were tripping out and didn't really understand what he wanted for that. So they gathered up the babies because they couldn't tell which the savior was. And so they gathered up all these newborns for Harold to, like, I guess, oversee himself. And like when Harold, I guess, did that in the movie, he was tripping out. He was like, where is he? Like, what? Which one? The heck? That's funny, man. I hadn't really considered what the logistics of that mass murder would have been. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. It is. So yeah, I just thought, like, in that moment where he was just losing himself, like, it just got worse and worse for him, you know, and like, it seemed like even his followers were just kind of like, let him be in his own hell. Yeah. And just kind of dispersed and went and did what they needed to do. And it was amazing to see that. I don't know.
You know, Kevin Howe in the chat says it's repeating the theme of Joseph, in which the first, I don't know if it's Joseph or if it's Moses, in which the firstborn Egyptians were killed. With Moses, the firstborn Egyptians were killed. And I remember there was, there were some boys, I think, who were killed, and Hebrew boys, you know, Israelite boys, who were killed when Moses was a baby, I feel like. And when Moses was a baby, he was put in a little basket and floated down in the Nile River, and Miriam, his older sister, was kind of watching out for him. And then the Pharaoh's wife or princess or whatever, I don't know, saw Miriam and this baby, and they took care of Moses and used Miriam to, like, help raise Moses.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Exactly.
All kinds of mess.
It is. It sounds like a mess. It really sounds like something that's supposed to happen really just trips people out, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, but
nice.
Yeah, man, thank you for talking to me with that, or, you know, speaking to me about my thoughts that I had about that. You know, I thought it was interesting to compare it to the things that I'm learning in Bond and things that I'm seeing out here in the world, whether it's in a movie or in reality.
Yeah. And it's believable that people are that evil that would do that. A powerful,
absolutely.
Especially when you're that powerful that you can get away with doing something like that. You would.
Yeah.
People would.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I won't take any more of your time, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too. You got me with the click. Real fast, I want to show you this cringy thing about healthcare for all. This person posted this on X. Derenick Bird. Reminder, the only reason we don't have universal health care in the United States is because the dominant society doesn't want black people to have it. Lord, I really don't buy that anybody cares whether or not black people have health care. In fact, they would probably prefer that they did have it, but they would also prefer that they take care of themselves. But here is that little thing. Hopefully this is not blasting your ears.
And concluded, which was the general consensus at the time among a lot of white people in the South, this is again in the 1890s, that black people were genetically inferior. And in 1896, he published a book called Race, Tendencies, and Traits of the American Negro, in which he lays out all the numbers, and then he concludes that if we simply avoided allowing black people to have any access to health care, that within 2 or 3 generations, the whole race would die out, and that would solve the race problem in America. Now, it sounds kind of crazy when I just lay it out like that right now, but this led to a whole bunch of things. By the 1920s, this was referred to as scientific racism. He was testifying about it before Congress. When Teddy Roosevelt, 1912, proposed a national health care system, people said no because black people will get it. When Franklin Roosevelt proposed a national health care system, it was the same thing. We don't want black people to get it. When Truman tried it in 47, same thing. Don't want black people to get it. Right up until 1965, Senator Stennis, the Dixiecrats in the South, was quoting Hoffman, who was by then dead, but is still very famous in this field, as saying this. We have to figure out a way to keep black people from using Medicare. This is when they were passing Medicare. And the way that they came up with was to have a 20% a gap in Medicare, so that you had to pay 20% of your doctor's bill and your hospital bill, and that would discourage poor black people from showing up at the hospitals. I mean, it was the most shocking thing I discovered, Cenk, when I was doing the research on this book, is that nearly 100% of the reason why the United States is the only country in the world that doesn't define healthcare as a right and doesn't have any sort of national healthcare system to speak of is because of racism.
Oh, interesting. I could picture because I've seen some angry people on the internet who are that angry and they're sick of the blacks and stuff like that, that they're that mad. You know what I mean? That they would be like, Kill them all. We just got through talking about it on with Christian, talking about killing the boys. So in that sense, I could see some people being mad enough to have that kind of vindictiveness. But I think it's because the whites and the Christians are sensible that we don't call health care a right. It's because it's not a right. That's communist mama talk. What a mess. But I got to keep it moving, guys. A quick super chat. Lin Yen Shin, thanks for the alert. He gave me a super chat and said, did it go through? The mouth breather chains adjectives. Oh, I could probably show it to you right here. Yeah. The mouth breather chains adjectives. Chains them together. Adjective after adjective. Fascist, you know, as a sign of intelligence, where those chains carry the same suffix. Where, like, fascist, feminist, all that other stuff. That is where a high heart rate and overheated brain state fragments their psyche. Just empty woman noise like that Canadian chick hating on Donald. Indeed. Yeah, that's what I thought of you, and I was right. Yep, indeed. Where is that one? I don't really have time to show it, but I'm going to try anyway. This gal who is complaining. Yeah, this gal. She's calling it malignant, narcissist, fascist. Vocabulary of a third grader. This gal. Shout out to Marlene. Oh, sorry, kids. She said, what the boop? Living my best life. Well, good for you. Woke America first, even though she's Canadian. Woke AF. America first, right? Or wrong? Thankfully. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's as boop. I gotta go, guys, because I can't get to the rest of your calls. I gotta wrap it up because Joel Friday TV is gonna be coming in, and hopefully that I can play this song. Music. Boom. Xmas. Boom. Phil. Hopefully this is the right one. Yes. All right, peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Darn. I shouldn't ruin it. Bill Hahn and Steve Johnson.
Why your joy is strange, prolonged. What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song. In excelsis Deo. Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing.
I wonder if this will work.
Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. In excelsis Deo.
There we go. What's that mean?
See him in a manger laid, whom the choirs of angels praise. Mary, Joseph, lend your aid. while our hearts in love we raise. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Glory to God in the highest. Sorry, Joel, I'm late.